let me introduce our guest speaker today. Dr. José Manuel Sáez López is an associate professor at the National University of Distance Education in Spain. His scientific and academic work has been published in 53 specialized journals, very productive, and integrate multiple research interests, including educational technology, didactics, visual programming, robotics, and methodological strategies. So today, Dr. José Manuel Sáez López will discuss his experience of reading educational research literature by using an open access journal article written by him and his colleagues. The title is Application of the Ubiquitous Game with the Augmented Reality in Primary Education. So without further ado, Dr. José Manuel Sáez López, the floor is yours.
Some years ago, I was in Toyota in a visiting scholar, so I have a good sensation from Japan in 2014. Okay, this is my presentation. This study was published in 2019. And it's about augmented reality in elementary education, primary education. So you can see this is Comunicar, which is an impact factor journal. It's in top 10 journals in the category of social science education. Okay, so this is an important study. We need to take into account that the impact factor journals are in two categories, mainly. Journal citation reports, which is the best category in the world, and Scopus, here in the right, you can see this, Scopus. And these two databases are very important. You have here the best journals in the world, the most prestigious with citation. Maybe journal citation reports is better because Scopus have a lot of journals, many journals, and the quality sometimes is lower. But the advantage of Scopus is that you can manage Estimago, journal, and country rank and check this classification for with an open strategy. Because journal citation reports, you need a subscription from a university. And Scopus, with this classification, you can enter Estimago, journal, and country ranks and check every rank available. You can see here social science, the category here is social science and education. This is my area. But you can find any other area. You could find computational, you can find medicine and other categories, other areas. Well, this research was in the category of education, and you can see here nowadays we have this rank, the first journal in the world right now is Review of Educational Research. Q1, so we have 4 quartiles, and these categories are based on the citation. The more citation they get, they go up in the rank, okay? You also can find here some Japanese journals. You can see here that we have some journals in the category of social science education. So maybe it is interesting for you. Maybe you want to publish here someday. And this is basics, the structure of an article, a research article. Mainly it's introduction, method, results, and discussion, the 4 parts of the article in every journal. Introduction is mainly the theoretical framework. It's the theoretical framework. It's what we study, what we found from other authors, other research. So it is interesting and important for us to check what other researchers wrote regarding the topic. Method, with method, you have the sample, the people participating in the study, the validity, reliability, implementations, dimensions. We will check this in the article. And after that, we have results, the data, the analysis, the tests, maybe a student's test, Wilcoxon text, ANOVA, and many other tests we can do, and data, and medium, and all the data is there in results. And the last one, the last part is discussion. We have to check the difference between conclusions and discussion. Conclusions is what we got in the study, the main idea in the study we got, and discussion is compare what we got in the study with other conclusions from other authors. So we are comparing with other people. So we have these 4 parts in any article, research article. And here we are going to check our study, application of the augmented reality in primary education. Well, you can see the abstract here, which is the summarized study with all the 4 parts, introduction, the objective. It's a quasi-experimental study in elementary school. So we have here some instruments with Likert scale. We analyze motivation, we analyze fun, we analyze results. So here we can check how these parts are interesting. First of all, we talked about the introduction of theoretical framework. When we cite one author, we do like this with American Psychological Association style, APA. In this case, we have the 7th version, EPA 7. So we have here this author, Barroso and Cabero. In 2016, they say something related to augmented reality. These authors published many things related to augmented reality. And here in the reference, we need to detail this author, Barroso and Cabero, these authors, and we need to put the title of the article, and we need to detail also the journal, the journal and the issue of the journal. This one had to go in italics, and the page and the DOE, this permanent link. So we have the reference perfectly detailed here. This is important for because journals want this to be perfect. Well, we had cleared the theoretical foundations and frameworks. So we can compare here Barroso and Cabero, the site, citation, and the reference, citations and reference. They had to be the same, so we need to do this properly. Now we go to the next part of an article, the method. The method, very important. We have the sample. The sample is the people participating in my study. So we have an experimental group here, consisted of 69 students of elementary school, 69 students. And these students search information using devices, augmented reality. They search information about European masterpieces of paintings, Picasso's Guernica, the Pearl Child, many other, the Fallen Angel from Finland, many other paintings. And we have here these technological devices, augmented reality, they make games and many other activities. So they learn about art in Europe and they play with augmented reality. This group of 69 students is experimental group. And moreover, we have the control group. The control group was 22 students with a traditional class with a textbook, no technologies and not only textbook. So we compare the results between these two groups. The sample is random, is non-probabilistic because you can have a random sample or non-probabilistic sample. In this case, it's non-probabilistic, is unintentional. So we chose the schools and the sample, but for several analyses, it's important to be a random sample, but in this case, it's non-probabilistic. If you have a big sample, that's better. That's better because we have more information and it's better for our study. And you can see here we have a quasi-experimental group, control group and experimental group. Well, we have here now the dimensions of the study. The dimension 1 is search for selection analysis of information, and the dimension 2 is educational use of WALAMI, the application we use for augmented reality. We have here some indicators, maybe related to variables, and the tests will constant text and human the Whitney test is non-parametric test. It's not a random sample, so non-parametric test, and we have categories, so we need to use non-parametric tests. We cannot use a student's t-test. Okay, this is the main structure of the study. We have this first dimension with a quasi-experimental approach. Quasi-experimental approach because we have pre-test, post-test with the control group and the experimental group, 99 confidence, and we got significant improvements related to the search of information, analysis, and ubiquitous learning. We got statistical improvements. And the second dimension is quasi-experimental too, with the use of WALAMI, with significant improvements. So the search of information in the first dimension and the use of augmented reality in the second dimension. Well, we made some interesting activities with the kids playing in the playground, looking with devices and mobile phones, cell phones, looking for the images and getting information, and then they make groups and look information related to the masterpiece, the Fallen Angel, Guernica's, the South. Here we have several masterpieces from different countries. For example, Germany, the man here in the mountain, Sweden, the Scream, Finland, the Angel, and many other. Each masterpiece is related to a country in Europe. And the data here, this quasi-experimental approach, we have several improvements. Performance, we have not so much, but slightly improvement. Motivation in every research related to ICT, motivation is the variable that gets a good data. So motivation tends to be a good variable. Fun, because the students make many things and they enjoy it, the activity. Information, because they look for many information related to the masterpieces. And collaboration, because we work in groups, many groups, looking for the images with augmented reality, and they looked for information related to the masterpiece, the author, the style, artistic style. So mainly this is the study. And finally, we got the discussion. This study is in line with other authors. Augmented reality learning activities often lead to innovative approaches that involve participative simulations. Well, the nature of these educational approaches differs considerably from the teacher-centered approach. So this focus is a student-centered approach. And the conclusions, we see here that we emphasize the values that show statistical significant improvements. So we got the Wilkinson test and human Dewey test showed as statistically significant improvements in these variables: performance, motivation, fun, information search, collaboration. Well, dynamic activities with augmented reality benefits provide us benefits and an opportunity for success in enable innovation in education through the application of emerging technologies, because augmented reality is an emerging technology related to the Horizon reports, K-12. So we got this research emphasizing all this. And here I can show you another open source study from the journal Pixelbit regarding to robotics, but maybe this in another day. These high school students work with MBOT and MBlock and work with all these computational thinking activities. And we also have a control and experimental group, and we compare all the data. And you can see here that the computational thinking got high values related to the control group. Maybe is the best improvement here in this study. Well, this is all I wanted to share. You can see here my email. You can write me whenever you want. I would be glad to answer you and share some of your thoughts. And you can see my Google Scholar profile here, so you can check some other articles. Unfortunately, I cannot share everything because some are not open access articles, but we can share many of them. So you are welcome to ask or tell me whatever you want. 本当にありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Dr. Sáez López. It was a very interesting study, very trendy as well. And although I didn't do research related to primary school, I usually do with higher education, but I could certainly sense how happy those kids running around with this kind of learning activities. Yeah, so this is going to be followed up by a question and answer section. So if there's any question from the audience, please unmute yourself and directly ask to our Dr. Sáez López. And if you have any question, it is time to ask now. It's a very golden opportunity. Is there anyone? So today, I think we have mostly Chinese audience here. So I'm gonna give you a moment to cook your your questions. I prepared some questions of my own. Just to ask. First thing is that we're very happy to see your research. But as a researcher who has read so many articles, and how did you train yourself to read, let's say, journal articles in education science? Did you receive formal education or training from the university, or you did it, by trying along the practice? Can you share with us your progress of reading literature review as a researcher?
Okay, thank you for your interesting question. I was a primary school teacher for 16 years, so I'm familiar with the schools. I've been working with children many times.
Sorry, can the audience mute themselves? Sorry, please go ahead.
You can ask if you want, no problem.
Sorry, please continue your answer.
No problem. I did a PhD, and then I got the fundamentals of research, the tests, all the journals, the metrics. So my training was about a PhD related to educational research. But I had the advantage that when I finished my PhD, I had access to many schools where I had friends, and many people led me to enter the classroom. So my research is very related to the real practice. So I was lucky because I have a network of many schools where I can go and ask for a favor and give me this data and this one. So maybe this was an advantage for me to my productivity, but mainly my training was about the PhD formal education.
So when you're a PhD student, you receive training from your school about reading the literature?
Yes, maybe more related to the bibliometrics and the journals positions and all these kinds of to distinguish between the impact factor journals and other journals which are good, but they have not international presence. And regarding to reading, yes, maybe it is important the reference, the theoretical framework and reference, and how the citation has to be right. And also, I remember that they told me about the passive, the passive. I don't know how to say in English. The passive tense. You cannot write like a diary. You are explaining in first person. You need to write in third person. Like it's the science who is speaking. The science speaks, not you are the one speaking. No? So this is important also for the journal articles, and of course the results sections related to data is also very important. The data you need to know the text, you need to know the tables, the information, the graphics. So this is important for writing and reading a good article.
So because I was talking to several researchers about this, we feel like training on how to read research literature is kind of lacking across universities. So I wonder if that is your observation as well.
Yeah, I think that you are working this very well, because it is important for people trying to understand science to know how to read and get the data and understand what the researchers is telling us, because sometimes the journal articles are a little bit tricky. They want to be so professionals and they want to provide many difficult terms. So it's important for readers to have to take all the essence of the research and really understand what is going on in that research, because the science wants to provide transference to society, and not only academics reading the articles. These articles need to go to the schools, to teachers, to practitioners, and this is the main objective. And I think that reading a good article and know how to read it's very important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you and echo with your comment. Like, you have a background of working for decades in primary school, so you actually bring the practice to research. So when you read the research papers, you have this prior knowledge of education practice already in your mind. But for many PhD students nowadays, I know they directly move up in the education ladder, from their undergraduate education or postgraduate master study to PhD study without this kind of exposure to the school environment, nor they have the teaching experience. So when digesting this kind of research papers that talk about teaching practice, it can be quite difficult for them to understand, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
We need a balance between theory and practice, and also it's important, that's right.
Yeah, and many papers, as you mentioned, they are written mainly for researchers to understand now. It also causes the trouble of transferring this knowledge back to the schools, because teachers, they don't understand what researchers are talking about sometimes on the papers. Yeah, that's true. So is there any question from the audience? Let's see, if you have, you can raise your hand or you can directly unmute yourself.
Hello, I have a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, so I want to ask Dr. Jose, so how did you find your research topic or research question? As you mentioned, you have several decades of teaching experience in primary schools. So did you base your research on your personal experience, or did you kind of find out some new points like the VR or like technology innovations in education, and you want to try something new? Yeah.
Thank you for your good question. We were working some years regarding augmented reality, and there was some reports, horizon reports, in the K-12 reports and higher education edition reports, and augmented reality was one of the emerging technologies. So we need to check if augmented reality is a good research, it's good for elementary school. We need to check that. Maybe it's good, maybe it's a problem, maybe the students lost time and they don't learn. So we needed to check if that augmented reality emerging technology is good for these kids in elementary school. And we started with that idea, and we relate augmented reality with artistic education, with masterpieces, looking for information. So we had all those ideas, and we thought that this could be a very innovative activity in these classrooms with these students. And in this case, in this implementation, the result was successful. I have to say that this not happens every time, because I I wrote something in 2015 related to Minecraft. You know, the video game Minecraft. Minecraft Edu, this was before Microsoft buy Minecraft. Minecraft Edu, and we got very good results regarding motivation, encouragement, fun, but we didn't got good results regarding academic results. Sometimes this happens. In this case, we got significant improvements in every variable.
Okay, so I'm wondering, is augmented reality commonly used in Spain? So for me, in my knowledge, I think in China, there are little schools which will use those technologies in their real practice. So I'm wondering what's the situation in Spain?
In Spain, the law is trying to foster that teachers implement ICT, educational technology, in schools. But the reality is not so easy because sometimes teachers are not have not the ability to use the technologies. Sometimes they don't want to use it. They want to do they want to do their practice in a traditional way. So I would say that there are many interesting innovations right now, but it's not every school. It's not for every school. Maybe I would say 30%, maybe.
Okay, so thank you for your answer. Yeah, I think your research are basically based on both your teaching experience and your research interest. And you luckily have the chance to put it into practice in those primary schools. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your interesting question. Thank you so much.
So is there any other question? Well, since this workshop also try to share with the audience our experiences of reading journal articles and conference papers, this kind of thing. Dr. Sáez López, in the end of this workshop, can you kindly share with the audience what is your strong recommendation for especially beginner students who are new to this field and have no experience or structure of reading yet? What is your strongest recommendation for them to start?
Well, I will recommend that you always have to have in mind that an article a research article have 4 parts: introduction of theoretical framework, method, results, and discussion, conclusion. These 4 parts. Sometimes the journals have different rules, and maybe then these are not the exact names in the article, but the structure is all the same in every article, because research article, there are many other types of articles, but I'm talking about research articles. And you always will find this structure. We will find theory in the beginning, how they implemented everything, sample, validation, reliability, the method, the results and data. Maybe you get crazy there with all the data. Some researchers are very tricky with the data. I prefer to be clear, as I told you before, because I want a transference to the practice. But sometimes this part is tricky because there are many information and mathematics. And the last part is the conclusions and discussion. So you have this in mind. You need to understand what is some terms like reliability, validity. Sometimes you need to understand what is that. And when they say, I am applying an IKINS V is content validity, judges, okay? So you need to get familiar with some terminology. And once you understand these main ideas, you maybe start to understand the article once you and also it's very important in the results section, you need to understand the statistics, parametric tests, non-parametric tests. ANOVA, student, parametric tests, mainly quantitative data, and non-parametric tests, Wilcoxon, Whitney, Kruskal-Wallis. You have to understand all the terminology too. And sometimes authors use qualitative studies. And here you will find sentences, categories, categorized with Atlas T, hyper research. So you need to understand that sometimes some research categorize qualitative interviews, observation. So once you understand all this, all the articles are mostly the same.
Beautiful summarization. You've mentioned many important aspects for the beginner readers. And I hope this workshop will be beneficial to the audience on research